My name is Mintah. I'm with the Faculty of Mathematics at the University of Waterloo. So I'm a lecturer there, and I'm also part of this African initiative, getting outreach programs and in Africa and encouraging females, and not just females, but anyone who is interested in doing mathematics to do it, but also stay in math. Yeah. That is a very good question, because I think I like math because of the discipline it comes with. It's a course that you have to be disciplined, you have to work hard, and also it comes with this form of satisfaction and excitement if you get the answer correct. So if you solve a big problem or a hard problem and you get it correct, you feel like you are walking on the moon for the first time, and it's exciting for me. And for me, that's very important. I feel very happy. That's the truth. And I'm that passionate about it. It's not about just liking it. I actually love math. It's that thing. You should see me teach my students in class. You see the excitement and the satisfaction of doing something and kind of getting a concept out there for my students to understand. So for me, it's everything. It's what I dream about, what I sleep and I think about mathematics problem. I just love it. So my emotions for it is insane. It's just a lot. I would, if you had asked me this in 4 years ago, I probably would say something different. But now I have a Ph.D, so you keep meeting the hardest and hardest problems. But I would say the first hardest question that I struggled with was during my master's level here in Canada at the University of Guelph. It was about it's on my research, so I had to come up with a new result on my own, improve the results. In the case where you have a new result, there's not a book that you are going to pull out and get the proof out there. You have to sit down and use all the techniques that you have learned from school to apply it and figure out which proof technique would work for what you are working, what you are solving. So that was the hardest thing I ever had to do. It took me about a month to get through that proof. So it was fun when I got it right, because I had to do party for myself. And I got it correct. So yeah, it took a while, but it's required a lot of perseverance and not giving up. So yeah. Before I start to describe what a quantum computer is, I have to start describing what our computers are, right? So the normal computers in front of you, if I ask you what are the materials you use that was used to build it, some people will mention different materials based on the hardware and the software. Some people even end up saying plastics, others will say some ions, carbons. So there are so many materials that is used in building the normal computers that we have. But our normal computers are built around this whole thing of a normal physics. So it's the behavior, and it operates around the physics that is used to build it. In quantum computing, that is different. We try to build it based on what we call quantum physics. So it operates around that quantum physics. If you ask me what a quantum physics is, then quantum physics is just a branch of physics that describes the behavior of electrons and some fundamental particles like the atoms and then the photons. So the quantum computer operates by controlling the behavior of these particles that we have. That's the more basic term. So it's just a very different physics from what the normal computers. quantum teleportation is my most favorable concept in quantum computing. And quantum teleportation has to do with the transmitting of information here. Because it's quantum, we look at quantum information from one location to the other without physically transmitting that information, right? So one thing that makes it more important and interesting is that in quantum, we cannot make copies of anything. That's what we call the no cloning theorem. So if I am here and I teleport myself to a different place in your school, for instance, then it is saying that the teleported person is actually me and not a copy of me. And that is what makes it interesting, because in quantum, we don't allow copying. So when you transmit anything, that thing that you have at that place is actually the real person. Yeah, 100 is a cool number, but I love the number 0 actually. The number 0 is that number that when you add anything to it, you get the actual number that you added to it. And I see the number 0 as it doesn't matter where you start. You can start anywhere from 0.0 and you'll still be a great person. So for me, the number 0 is the most exciting because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you start with nothing. You can always do extremely wonderful and become very successful. It feels fulfilling, exciting, and it feels great. I think the most important thing is I sit in an Uber after class, coming home, and then the Uber driver will first of all ask me, is my name Comfort Real? Is it my actual name? And I'm like, yeah, actually it's my name. And then they ask, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a lecturer at the university. What do you teach? I teach math. And they come with, oh, wow, that's interesting. I was really bad in math. So you get how people respect the hard work that you have put into it, and how much you have sacrificed in order to get to where you are right now. And it kind of gives you some appreciation of how hard you have also worked. It makes you happy and feel great about yourself. Yeah. What it takes is discipline. It's very important to be disciplined, and you have to work hard. So when my teachers give me homework when I was their age, I do the homework all right, but I take that extra time to solve more practice problems. I had to give myself that extra work to take the textbook or the recommended textbook and solve all the problems in the textbook. I can comfortably say, we used to use James Stewart in school for calculus, and I can comfortably say I solved every question in that book because I worked hard, right? So it comes with a lot of hard work and discipline, but also perseverance, because it's a bumpy road. It's not going to be a smooth thing. You don't expect that every time you solve math, you should get the answer correct. Like I said, some examples take you months, some take you weeks, some will take you a couple of hours, like an hour or two, and that's okay. So you have to persevere through it and also be very patient, because patience is what leads to the most amazing results. Yeah. For me, it's not also about the money so much. For me, getting the money is good. It's important because it will help me survive and pay rent and other things. But also being happy about what I do and waking up in the morning and wanting to take a pen and a paper and solve a math problem is very important to me. So yeah, I think that the money is good. You can also do a lot of a courses in math. It doesn't always have to just be a mathematician, right? People who work in artificial intelligence, we use a lot of mathematics there. A lot of mathematical modeling. So modeling diseases has to do with strong mathematics. So all these things actually helps you get a lot of money in what you do. So what is on that chalkboard had to do with what we mean by quantum error correction. And so trying to send information and making sure the information that we are sending is not affected by the noise in the environment or someone trying to even tamper with the information. Immediately someone tampers with the information, our information is very fragile. So it's easy for us to notice that there is a problem because of the way we have structured the information that we are sending. So all the mathematics you are saying is how we have to send the information, the mathematical way to send the information so that we know if a third party, if we've got an access to that information that is being sent to the receiver, and how the receiver is able to also detect that someone has tampered with the information. So it's the mathematics behind all that. When I get stuck with math, I go for a walk. I go for a very long walk, about an hour or 2 hours, just walking. It's my way of thinking and getting away from the paper and pen or my computer and giving myself some fresh air to kind of have these new ideas in order to solve the problem. But it's different from everyone. I have a colleague who just play video game for a couple of hours and come back to the math and will be okay. My boss, for instance, will just go for a run. And so it's different based on everyone and what works for them. But for me, walking long walks is what works for me. I have to go for that long walk, and I come back even more excited to actually tackle the problem for the second time. And I remember the first time I walked into my mathematical physics class, my professor asked me what I am doing in the class, because everyone there was actually a male. So what are you coming to do in class? And he made a comment that you can't do it, you're just going to fail. So the very first time they see you, they think you're just coming to waste your time, go and take a different course. So you have to deal with that, which means I have to work 3 or 4 times harder than my colleagues in order to stand out. It doesn't matter how good I am, they would still see you as a female. And you end up with certain comments, like inappropriate comments that are really not very good. That can be a little bit discouraging. So it requires you being strong and building this hard shell around you and telling yourself, I don't care, I'm going to make it. The truth is they would accept that you are good at a point in time because then you would end up helping them do their homeworks, but you will have a tap at the beginning. And so yes, I did face a lot of difficulty, not just especially as a female and being the only one in like a pool of male students in that field. Yeah. It really doesn't even have to do with math. I think in everybody's career, at a point you face challenges and you want to give up. So I did face that, especially in the field of mathematics. Like I said, it's a bumpy road. It's not always easy to get the solution in an hour or 2. There are days where it's just like you can see anything. You sit down and you're like, am I ever going to be able to solve this problem? And you need to be able to finish it to get your papers out, published, and all those things. And so, yes, I did face those days where I sleep in my bed and I don't even feel like waking up to go and take my math homework or my math book to continue my work. But giving up, I did feel that way, but also I told myself that it's giving up actually the solution to the problem, because there are other people who look up to you. I had sisters who looked up to me, and so if I give up, then what do I tell my sisters? I had friends. Sometimes you might not even know some of your friends look up to you, but they do, right? So they do look up to you, and they want to be like you or even be better than you. So immediately you give up, you fail all those people. But for me, it wasn't about them, it was about me. The moment I gave up, I failed myself. And so giving up for me was not an option. And I think that I use Thomas Edison's quote to always encourage me. He says our greatest weakness is actually giving up. But then the point is, in order to be successful or succeed in life, you have to try one more time. So if I fail at something, it's okay to fail sometimes, but the most important thing is to try to get back up and do better at what you're doing. Keep trying. One day it will work out. When I started solving my hardest questions, and you see all the papers that I have published with my colleagues and my supervisors, it wasn't something that we did in one day. Some of them took months, almost a year, to get through some of these results. So if I had given up, then I wouldn't have been able to get to where I am today. So giving up is not an option. That is what I told myself. It's okay to feel bad and stay in bed for a couple of days, but then the point is always learn to just push yourself and motivate yourself and try to come back to the problem and solve the problem. You have to be disciplined and you have to ask questions. Worry your math teachers, right? So if you don't understand something, don't feel bad asking or saying, I don't know, can you help me with this? I learned from my teachers as well as I learned from my friends. I have to be sincere, I wasn't the smartest person in class, but I knew that I was very hardworking, and I was ready to work hard and go for it and just like break the barriers and not worry about the next person close to me. So it's okay not to be the smartest person in class. All those who made it in life are not the smartest in class. They are the ones that told themselves they can do it, and they maintain the discipline and focus to get to where I am right now, or where they are right now. It also comes with a little bit of sacrificing. So as long as you are working hard and all those things, you don't get to, I do hang out with my friends, but I have to cut down some time for my work, right? So if my colleagues were hanging out, say, 5 times in a week or 3 times in a week, I can only hang out with them once or twice in a week, because I have to get my work done. I have to get everything I have to do and try to stay on top of my work. Like I said, I practiced a lot of problems. And so when my teachers give me homework, it didn't stop there. I finished the homework from school. I still take time to solve more practice problems. And that is how I got through it. So discipline, perseverance, hard work, and staying focused, and also you have to sacrifice to get to that place. Yeah.